Good afternoon from London. And today I am very excited to share with you this webinar about inspiring youth environmental action. I am Angela McCarthy, the CEO of the Earth Foundation, a global $200,000 annual environmental sustainability competition for teenage students all over the world. We are all about inspiring, educating, and accelerating positive change in any way that we can. Today, I am very excited because we have with us one of our ambassadors, Suzy Amis Cameron. Thank you for being here, Suzy. Where does one start with Suzy? Former actress, author of the OMD plan, One Meal a Day, behind the global Muse schools, mom of 5, just a few of the things that you do on a daily basis. Also, huge pleasure to have with us is Suzanne McClure, your head of school, along with Rick Perello, our seed to table manager. You are going to share with us really what it's like to have real life change makers that you are inspiring from a very small, tiny age in your school on a daily basis with all that is around you towards this environmental sustainability movement. Along with other incredible youth we have with us today, 2 change makers. We have Emma Reese, who is a student as Muse Global in California, who's going to share her passion projects with us. And we have our own youth board member at the Earth Prize competition, Vinisha Umashankar. Did I say that right, Umashankar? I said it right, Vinisha? I hope so.
Yes, you did.
I'm so glad to hear that. Who's also going to be showcasing and sharing with us what it's been like to be part of the Earth Prize competition youth board movement, along with her incredible solutions and her award-winning solar iron cart project. So now I would like to open the floor to our dear ambassador, Suzy Amis Cameron. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. So hi, everyone. So it's afternoon in London and it's morning. It's a big, beautiful morning here in Southern California. And yeah, I think in terms of being able to introduce you and for you to kind of understand a little bit about Muse Global, it really started from the moment, and Angela, you mentioned that I have 5 children. It's true. I have 5 children that keep me very, very busy. But I realized after watching the 2 older ones go through various schooling systems, I realized that there was a huge lack in teaching children, allowing them to learn in their own way at their own pace, and decided to start a school where that celebrated children for who they are and taught them about, not only outer ecology and sustainability, but inner inner ecology and learning about themselves and what drives them and what they're interested in and what their passions are. And, in the beginning, it was really a very selfish idea because I just wanted to educate our 3 youngest children in the best possible way, feed them in the best possible way, and nourish them and nurture them in the best possible way. And within, that first year, 2006, we started with 11 children. And very, very quickly, I would say within months, I realized what a huge need there was out there for children to be celebrated and to be in a safe space that didn't have bullies and didn't have chemicals and had delicious, beautiful, fresh food. And, from 2006 until now, we have, in pre-pandemic, we had 2 campuses and about 230 children. We pivoted to Muse Virtual, and just this past year, we've opened up Muse Global again, and our goal if anybody's out there and really interested in it, our goal is to open up Muse schools around the world. And in terms of Earth Prize, I mean, it just goes hand in glove with what we do at Muse. It really celebrates children. And I think the thing that I think is so astounding and so amazing, and I am so honored to be an ambassador, is the fact that Earth Prize actually gives a platform to teenagers to have a voice. And there is so much wisdom in children. You know, they always say out of the mouths of babes. Well, if grown-ups will just listen to our youth, there is so much wisdom in what they have to say. So it is time, I believe, and I'm obviously with Earth Prize, it is time for grown-ups to start listening to youth, to start collaborating with them, and also be able to, you know, share elder wisdom back to children as well, not telling them what to do, but actual sharing and collaboration. And, you know, being able to see all of the entries and all of the projects that the kids have that they've submitted for Earth Prize has been astounding. And I'm just thrilled to be part of all of it. And I'm so excited to see these young kids become global champions and go forth and make waves.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful. Of course, you know, our founder, Peter McGarry, is also a father of 4, and he too was very much inspired with his eldest daughter, seeing her in the marches, and it triggered this thought process that we can do much more out there and create a huge impact if we all come together. So it's very much, as you said, hand in glove. And I think that's a beautiful thing, to want to create a legacy and to create something different for the generations that are coming. And also, I might add, before Susan, you're going to jump in there, is I had the pleasure of actually going to your school in California and visiting the school and seeing what you have created is truly unbelievable. I mean, it is something that all schools need to go and visit your school and then pretty much just map it out everywhere you can. So it's an amazing place. So well done to you, for you and your team and everyone who is behind you. So Suzanne, please, let's jump in and hear your thoughts.
Oh, thank you. What a lovely segue. Thank you guys so much. Yes, we're coming from sunny California today, and the images that you're seeing are the spectacular Muse Global Campus here in Calabasas. We are on 22 incredible acres in the Santa Monica Mountains. Every building and structure that you see was carefully designed and crafted for this environment of learning every day. We maximize natural light in the classroom. They are air sealed and super insulated for comfort and efficiency. We have our 5 beautiful solar sunflowers that power a large percentage of the campus. And our gardens are really just a lovely way that students are out in nature every single day. We have about 50 garden beds in the top, and Rick's going to be sharing about those in a little while. We have beautiful bamboo flooring in our cabins, and our aesthetic is really one to inspire students every single day, which was really crafted and visioned by our incredible founder. So I'm going to let Suzy share a little bit about the OMD plan at Muse.
So OMD, what does that stand for? It stands for 1 meal a day for the planet. And this came after my husband and I watched a documentary called Forks Over Knives in 2012. And we decided to go plant-based overnight, right away. That's just how we roll. We kind of make a commitment and then we go for it. And it was mainly around health issues that really struck me when I watched it. And then my husband, he is the one that started giving me books and educating me on the effects of animal agriculture, not only on your health, but on the environment. And the the first hit that I got around the health, I was really blindsided by just how much we are advertised to about animal products, and we need to eat lean meats and low-fat dairy in order to be healthy. And it's exactly the antithesis. And, being in environmental circles, I had been working with the largest environmental NGO for almost a decade, and no one had ever talked about animal agriculture. So we were very happy to be on this journey. And then we realized one day, it was like, hold on a minute. Even though we are serving grass-fed beef, free-range chicken, cage-free eggs, all organic dairy, thinking that we were, and filtered water, thinking that we were doing exactly the right thing. We looked at each other one day, not long after that, and decided that because we were an environmental school, we would be completely hypocritical if we continued to serve animal products. So in fall of 2015, after a lot of education that came into the school through committees and doctors and climate scientists and authors and chefs, talking to the children, talking to the teachers, talking to the parents, we took 18 months to create this educational platform so people would understand why we were doing it. In 2015, we actually became the first plant-based school in North America, which we're very proud of. It wasn't easy. There were a lot of bumps, and we were certainly ahead of the game. It's talked about a lot now. It's very much in the conversation. But because of that, I decided to write a book, which is called OMD. And it talks about, all of the environmental savings. So the children at school, and you can see them here in the presentation. And this is one of the reasons we actually are the leading, the leading winner of the Green Restaurant Award out of, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of restaurants around the world. And one of the reasons is because we are a very eco-friendly school, as Suzanne showed, with the solar flowers and saving water and our materials that we use. But what really pushed us over the edge was becoming plant-based. And we have held, how long have we held that tenure?
Yeah, it's been
6 years, 7 years,
probably longer, about 7 years now.
Yeah. So it's something we're really proud of. But I think the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway that I would love for all of you to know, whether you're 4 years old or whether you're 94 years old, one person swapping out one of their meals a day to a plant-based meal for 1 year saves close to 200,000 gallons of water and the carbon equivalent of driving from Los Angeles to New York. So you don't have to go out and put solar on your house. You don't have to go out and buy an electric car. Just by swapping out one of your meals a day, you can make an enormous amount of change in helping move the needle on climate change. So I implore you to just start with that. Just dip your toe in and just start with swapping out one of your meals a day. Change is hard, and it's hard to give up your favorite foods. But just know that every time you put food on your plate, you're either helping your health and the environment, or you're hurting your health and the environment. So OMD.
I'll just jump in there and I'll say, one of the things that really grabbed me when you first shared with me the OMD plan is that it's doable. I think where it's so hard, indeed, what you said, it's very hard to make those changes, right? But if you make something doable, one of the 3 meals a day, if you are blessed enough to have 3 meals a day, if you can do that, which you can, you would never imagine without that data that it's that powerful. And when we do webinars like this, it's really to share also that research that you have done, that data where you can feel like you can make a difference as opposed to sitting back and thinking, well, there's nothing I can do anyway, right?
Exactly.
And doable is great. And that's what I love about the O&D plan.
Exactly. I mean, I really think that, people, they get paralyzed when they think about climate change or what can little old me do?
Right.
And you actually can do something. And, that it's really amazing to go to the school. And Angela, I'm sure that you witnessed this, and to see these children, they know that by having, one plant-based meal a day for lunchtime, they understand how much water they're saving and how much carbon they're saving and how it's helping their bodies and how it's helping the animals. I mean, there are so many boxes you can tick by having plant-based food.
Yeah, no, it's great because very similar to the Earth Prize, it's about creating awareness, education, and giving a platform to either showcase it or to help listen to voices who want to share their solutions. And you've created a solution and we're sharing some of the things you're doing. And that's what is very powerful, because once you have the information, you can go do something. And I think it's amazing. And I've talked about it to a lot of schools already. So it's great to have you with us today, just to really, there's nothing like hearing it from the person that actually created it, and then your team that goes and executes it. So it's amazing. And I know that Rick, you're jumping in here soon as well, right? Because you are Seed to Table Manager.
Yes, thank you, Angela, Suzy, and Suzanne. I am Rick Perillo, and I teach gardening. So I like to say I have one of the best jobs in the world. I get to work with plants and with kids. Some days the plants are easier, some days the kids are easier, depending on the day. But I really view gardening with kids as an excellent avenue to get kids excited and passionate about the natural world, because they make a personal connection with it through gardening, which I believe will lead them to become conservationists, environmentalists as they grow older. Our youngest students are 2 years old. They collect acorns from our oak trees on campus and they sprout them and then go plant those oak trees, and those oak trees, I tell them, these trees are going to live 300 years. You're planting this for like your kids and their kids. And so kind of get them thinking about what we do now and how it's going to have an impact later on life. As our students age, they are learning entrepreneurship through the gardens. They are doing farm stands where they're creating like a little business where they might take garden products and turn them into other products, like harvest hot peppers and turn them into hot sauce that we're selling, or taking medicinal flowers and turning them into salves that we're selling. So they're learning business skills and entrepreneurship. We do projects where we grow food that we donate to a local food bank. Our 5th and 6th graders just completed that project where we grew about 30 pounds of produce that we took over to a local food pantry that we have a partnership with. So they're learning how the gardens could be a way that we could give back to our community and help our community. So really we're looking at the gardens in a very holistic way. And of course the gardens feed us and they teach us healthy eating, but I think they teach us so much more. In a minute, we're going to hear from one of our students who will really has taken gardening to heart and can tell us about some of the ways that she has used her passion project to incorporate gardening. So before I introduce my student, Emma, I want to talk a little bit about what a passion project is at Muse. So every student at Muse twice a year chooses a passion, and they learn their academics through exploring this passion. When you leave it up to kids, they come up with all sorts of things, everything from Harry Potter and Pokemon to taking on a passion project for the stock market. I've seen passion projects for all sorts of different animals. I've seen passion projects around architecture. So really like they run the full gamut, but they need to incorporate sustainability into their passion project. And sometimes that takes a lot of creativity on the teacher's parts to kind of help walk these students through incorporating sustainability. But we find ways, for example, some of the younger students sometimes have chosen dogs as their passion project. Well, from the garden, they learn to take like grow garden veggies that dogs can eat, like garden squashes. And then we went to our kitchen and worked with our chef to turn those squashes into dog treats. So they're kind of learning how they can make a sustainable garden grown healthy dog treat. One of the students pictured here planting the seeds, I worked with her when she was a third grader. Her passion project was basically plant medicine. More specifically, she had this life goal of wanting to cure cancer with plants. And actually that came about because she had a friend who had cancer. And Suzy mentioned earlier how we need to let the youth lead. And that's probably the biggest thing I personally have learned through working at Muse is like, let the youth lead. I think so many adults and even educators, sadly, when a kid has a big idea, are inclined to kind of tell them, well, you can't do that, or, what about this, that, and the other. But working at Muse, our teachers are all encouraged and learn to, like, when a kid comes to you with a big idea, you say, okay, how can I help? What's the first step? So like, who am I as a teacher to tell this student she can't cure cancer? I believe she can. So, we worked on learning about different medicinal plants, planting them, growing them, seeing kind of what products we could turn them into. And, my hope is that just spurs her creativity and imagination and learning. And she continues down that path of exploring that. So with that, I want to introduce a student who has been at Muse since, I think, third grade. Is that right, Emma? Now you're an 11th grader, and has done a lot of incredible passion projects, and has had a passion for the garden for a long time, and has always found a way to incorporate the garden into her passion projects and sustainability into her passion projects in a really powerful way. So Emma, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Rick. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. As Rick said, my name is Emma Reese, and I am so excited to be here with all of you because I believe that real change and awareness can come from this. So first, I would like to start by saying that I'm 17 years old, I'm a junior in high school, and I have attended Muse School for the last 11 years. And during that time, I've been able to do some incredible passion projects where I was able to be a creator, an innovator, and I was also able to educate other kids and other students that we too can make a big difference. I've done many projects that have ranged from growing 200 heads of lettuce for my school's salad bar, installing the water irrigation system, creating a Frida Kahlo inspired garden, a tea garden, and the study of Japanese gardens and the connection that it has to mental health and Alzheimer's. But the two I will be talking about today are my traditional medicine garden and my 17 garden. My traditional medicine garden. My traditional medicine garden was where I was able to get in tune with my Native American roots and go deep into hundreds of medicines that were naturally grown without pesticides, without chemicals, or any added fillers, and no corporation high markups. Not to say that traditional medicine should replace Western medicine, but this is a holistic approach that should not be forgotten or ignored because these medicines have been used for hundreds and hundreds of years. And in a time where we ourselves are oversaturated with pills and prescriptions, I learned natural ways to remedy everyday illnesses. So, for example, I grew spearmint and peppermint to make into a tea to help aid headaches and help aid stomach aches. I also grew white sage, which there's a picture of, to make into smudge sticks. I also grew a plant that's called stinging nettle, which to most gardeners, if you're aware with plants by any means, you'll know that stinging nettle is kind of a nuisance to most because if you touch it, it'll actually create like an allergic reaction for you essentially. But if you boil that down and make a tea, It's actually really good for your vocal cords and it's really good for your lungs as well. So that's something really unique that I learned from this project. And next, I will be talking about a more serious issue, and I would like to show how I shed light on, or I'm sorry, now I will be moving on to a more serious issue to show how I used my passion project as a platform for social change and how I shed light on gun violence. Back on February 14th, 2018, a horrific act of violence took place where 17 precious lives were lost. Within 5 weeks of this incident, the Parkland students organized a massive protest. My school, along with tons of other schools, marched with love and solidarity. After seeing the faces of the lives that were lost, I couldn't even imagine the grief and sorrow of the families and friends of these individuals. And that left me truly heartbroken and angry. With their faces forever etched in my mind, I knew I had to do something. So I decided to honor their lives by building and creating a 17 garden where I planted 17 different plants for each living soul that was taken away tragically too soon. This is an example where I boldly took a stand against gun violence and was allowed freedom of expression through my garden. Gun violence can lead to a violation to the most fundamental human right, the right to live. So with that being said, my hope is it will bring real awareness that real lives were lost and that they should never be forgotten. So thank you, and I think I will pass it to Angela.
Emma, I'm a little speechless at this point. To have the emotional intelligence, empathy, to take something so very painful, to turn it into something positive is truly, truly inspirational. So really heartfelt congratulations to you and to showcasing this to us and to all the people that are listening, because you are a reminder how you can turn any negative into a positive and make something from bad to good. And essentially in different forms, that's what we are all trying to do. And we're trying to accelerate that process in any which way we can. So thank you very, very much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Wow, you are definitely inspirational, that's for sure. So I will be back in LA and I will come meet you. No, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So back a little bit just to the Earth Prize competition. We just completed our first year and we did not know exactly what would happen. But the passion and the drive from my incredible team and myself, we were all gung-ho. I would say 150 miles an hour every day, all the time. And we're very excited to share with you that we did have 516 schools sign up in 114 countries and territories. We had 870 teams, 721 teachers and educators. You are so, so, so very important and precious to society, 30 motivated, amazing university mentors. We have 9 renowned young environmental change makers who are out there making a difference for a few years already. And we have 8 incredible youth board members. And today we also have one of our very special youth board members with us, which is Vinisha. And Vinisha, I would so love for you to share. I mean, you too have been busy in these last 15 years, shall I say? I don't know if you, before you were walking, you were doing this or what you've been doing, but it's incredible that you are already an innovator, environmental change maker, TEDx speaker, have won multiple awards for your projects. And you've spoken, I don't know, I think half the time when you can't make the youth board meeting, it's because you're either speaking in parliament. She has great excuses. I mean, they're really good, you know, truly powerful. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Vinisha. We would love to hear from you all the things that you are doing and how it's been for you to be an Earth Prize Competition Youth Board member.
Sure. Thank you so much, Angela. And that was an amazing introduction, quite humorous actually. And yes, I am 15 years old. I've been an innovator for, say, the past 2 to 3 years. And I recently got the opportunity to speak at TEDx, which was also amazing. But right now, I'm here to speak a little more about my innovation and what I've been able to change with it. So, the problem that I was tackling is charcoal based ironing. Now, charcoal based ironing has been around for quite a while in India, and you could say almost 3 centuries. So, back when the Industrial Revolution was going on, using charcoal seemed like a really good idea because charcoal was a reliable source of fuel back then. But currently, times are changing, so the way we work with things also has to change. Charcoal is no longer a sustainable way to iron clothes, but currently that's the reality in India. Charcoal based irons can be seen in almost every street, and when that happens, there are almost millions of charcoal based irons. That causes a lot of air pollution, deforestation, even respiratory diseases. So, with all these environmental problems and health issues in mind, I decided that there was something wrong with this and I wanted to figure out an alternative. And this alternative came to me in the form of solar power. So, India has a relatively hot climate with a lot of sunshine. So, I thought using solar power would be a good idea. And with this, over a course of a year, so from 2018 to 2019, I worked on my project. For this, it reduces air pollution, deforestation, and the severity of climate change. Because if you're reducing about a million of these carts, then it definitely does make a difference. And I am yet to be manufacturing these, so they might come out this year. And I've already spoken to several of the ironing vendors, and they seem really happy to have this idea. Because if you do think about it, nobody really wants to be in the face of these toxic fumes. It really does take a toll on your health and your body as well, which is not good for anyone. So there are a few advantages with the solar ironing cart. The first thing is it's affordable. It's also viable, meaning it can actually last for about 30 years if maintained properly. It's also really easy to use. It's the most simple concept. There's solar power, the solar power goes directly to the iron box, and if you don't have to use it at the moment, you can also store it in a battery, which means you can use it later. It also has a bicycle attached to it, so they can ride it around town. And this is currently a rural innovation project, but we plan on expanding it across the country and across the world as well. For this, I did receive a few awards. The first one was the National Award, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was an amazing scientist, and uh, he is almost an inspiration to everyone in our country. So, receiving an award named after him is really an inspiration. The second one was the Children's Climate Prize in 2020, my first international win with the project, and I recently became a finalist of the Earthshot Prize, which was also an amazing experience. And currently, I get to be a youth board member. So, these are just a few opportunities which come around when you actually raise your voice and take action, which is something that the youth has been doing amazingly over the past few years. And I'm glad I get to share the chance as well. So, I would like to share my experience being on the youth board. And being on the youth board has been something that it's a new experience for me. So when I first joined, I did not know what to expect. But as the months went by and we started to discuss with other youth board members, I just realized how many other people there are around the world who are also working towards making our earth a better place. And the meetings have been really fun. We've been there since the start, even before the first prize was announced. So we've been discussing behind the scenes, providing feedback, and just updating each other on our projects, which has been really fun and really insightful as well. So it's something that we get to be a part of. We get to project our live feedback on something that affects other youth like us. So we get to be a part of formulating something that is going to help someone else, which is a really amazing process. And I'm glad I get to be a part of it.
Vinisha, you have been very, very instrumental in many thoughts and processes and ideas, feedback calls that our team took into consideration. And we're really here to learn ourselves. This is something we understand, that we're of a certain age and we don't see things the same way as you do, and we really value your experience, your understanding, your thought process. So it has been amazing to have you on board with us. And we're so also thrilled for you and all your incredible achievements. It's really very, very impressive. So
Thank you so much.
I think now there may be some questions that are coming our way. And I'm going to pass the mic over to Suzanne, because I don't love the Q&A, but Suzanne is going to take it over for me today, which is fabulous. So I'm going to pass it on to you, Suzanne.
Thank you. Ready? And attendees, if you have questions, please put them into that Q&A. And then I see one coming up. I first want to just say how inspired I am by the students that are on this webinar today, Vinisha and Emma. To see, it's touching and makes me teary to think of you, of the two of you, and then the many other students that are really working in this such a high level way to bring inspiration and change and honoring and to really tackle things that are so challenging for our planet. And to see that students of your age are doing this work makes me feel so hopeful. And this is what brings me such joy when I come to school every day. So thank you both for sharing all of those wonderful elements of your projects with us. I see a question for you, Vinisha, coming in about what's your long-term plan for the solar ironing cart project?
So currently it has been about a year since I've been working on the project. And with school, it is a bit hard to bring it into the market, but we're currently working on that, and we're just been working on the domains and everything. So perhaps the solar ironing cart will be in the market by the end of this year or the starting of the next. I first just plan to get it done at the pilot test, perhaps within the state, then perhaps the country, and eventually across the world, because innovation, it has to be global, because climate change isn't something that affects one country. It affects all the countries equally, which means such innovations can also benefit people if spread across the world. So my long-term goals are just to get it out there and learn from the people who are using it.
Excellent. Wonderful. Here's a Muse question. Someone is asking if Muse online is available all over the world or just the United States. So I think I'm going to let Suzy answer that.
So it is available all over the world. However, it is the time zone that it's in. Attending live is actually Pacific Standard Time, but we have children. We have a girl that I actually visited about a week and a half ago who lives in France. And so she starts school at 5 p.m. and finishes at 11 p.m. So she has a nice lie-in every morning before she starts school, which is actually, research shows that teenagers need, they need extra sleep, and they need to sleep later than grown-ups or little kids. So yes, we do. And, we've also created programs for children, just doing the online work and not showing up for the actual live classes too. So there are a lot of different options, and just reach out to Suzanne and then tell your friends too.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, Angela, we have two questions about the Earth Prize. One is, who won the Earth Prize this year?
Oh.
That's the first question. The second one is, and can they register for the next Earth Prize yet?
Okay, well, I'll jump in first with the winning team, which is Team Adorbsies. It is 3 young teenagers from Vietnam that came up with an incredible solution using dragon fruit to make sanitary pads, which is just an unbelievable. I mean, only teenagers could think out of the box like that and take what during COVID, in fact, they saw dragon fruit piling up all over the streets in Vietnam, and it was decomposing. It was food waste. There were multiple issues behind there, and it was causing them great concern. And from there, they started investigating more about the dragon fruit and discovered its properties in absorption. Then they understood also that there are a large amount of females on the planet, and it takes up to 800 years for sanitary pads to decompose. And that is a serious issue. And just the idea to put those two together was truly not only innovative, but impactful, inspirational. And I must share with you that we're at the point where they have received so much attention all over the world, and especially in Vietnam, which is wonderful. They're actually today, they're going to be visiting Dragon Capital, who is looking to see how they can help further fund them and bring their solution to life, which is awesome. And regarding registration for the next round of the Earth Prize competition, it is open now. Pre-registration's on theearthprize.org. Just a reminder that the official registration opens on the 1st of September. So you could sign up now and receive the reminder for the 1st of September. So you could already get organized, start talking to your school, your teachers, or vice versa. It's the teachers talking to your students, or the parents, or whoever's listening to the webinar, and you can jump on our site and already get organized.
Oh, excellent. Very exciting. Thank you, Angela.
Pleasure.
So Emma, we have a few questions for Emma. Emma, one question is asking about your plans after graduation. Do you know what you want to do after you graduate from Muse next year?
I do. So obviously, as a junior in high school, I've thought a lot recently about going to college and what I'm going to major in college. So I put a lot of thought into going into the field of landscape architecture, because both gardening and landscape in general makes my heart really happy. So architecture as well. So for me, going into college, I would like to learn how to beautify public spaces and people's homes. So I would really like to go into landscape architecture.
Excellent. And you have another question that's asking, how has being a student at Muse impacted the way that you think?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually. So obviously, as I mentioned, I've been at Muse for a really, really long time now. I've been at Muse for 11 years. And with that being said, I think that I always dream up these big and ambitious projects, as a few of the ones that I mentioned. And as Rick had said, that my teachers never discouraged me. They never told me like, oh, Emma, it's a little outrageous, or that's a little too ambitious. They never told me that. So I think with my community support, and they're always willing to help me, has impacted me so much and has helped me as a growing, learning teenager, that you can reach for help. It's okay. Like, you can listen to other people's feedback and not have it be criticism. And learning from my teachers and my other peers has been huge for me. So yes.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you. I have a question about, let's see, Muse Curriculum in general. So I think I'm going to take this one. The Muse Curriculum is first engaged with students around our 5 pillars. So if you don't know the 5 pillars of Muse, I'm just going to go through them really quickly. So first and foremost, we have academics. So traditional academics as in the United States, as in math and science and literacy and social studies and history. And then we incorporate these incredible things that are called the specialist programs. And that includes world language study and performing arts, visual arts. It includes the wonderful program that you learned about with Rick today, the Seed to Table program. Students also cook with our chef Robin as well. And that sometimes also then moves and spreads out into things like makerspace, where students can build and create things. And a lot of our electives at Muse are really inspired by student passion and interest. So every year when we create the Muse schedule, we inquire and we talk to our students about what they individually and collectively are inspired and curious about. And then our electives are built from those student curiosities and interests. And if we don't have an expert at Muse, then we bring in experts. So there's a lot of going outside of our community and then bringing those people back in. And that includes field trips and guest speakers and international and domestic travel opportunities. We have some very other exciting programs like human rights and our 2 high school courses called Climate Crisis and Action 1 and 2, led by our science teacher, Russ Mallon. And that is where students then jump in, as they do in human rights, creating action-oriented projects. So it's not just learning about what is happening and what are the crises and what are the things that need attention, but how do we put our passion around those things into action? And that happens in individual projects as well as group projects. So that is a little about the Muse curriculum. And then I think we have a few more coming in. We have a time for a few more, I think. Someone's asking about if there are similar initiatives in Swiss schools. Angela, do you want to take that one?
Sure, with pleasure. When we were studying this, Peter McGarry and I, and looking at what's out there, we hired someone to do proper, serious research. And there are many different initiatives, but unfortunately, taking it to the next level seems to be very rare, where you actually have a solution. You don't just get the certificate, but now, we take the solution, we bring it to life. We want to showcase the students, how they become change makers, the impact they're going to create. And actually what we're doing as the next phase from the Earth Prize competition is the scholars and the winning teams and the finalists, they all become part of our alumni. And what's really important for us is bringing together all these brilliant young minds that can connect, that can meet, that can share, along with many other interesting, be it professors and other people that we will be inviting into our alumni to showcase what they can do and how they can help the teams and other people that are joining us. It's really important to build that base where there's a network there where you can continue to grow, because really that's what this is all about. And I think you're about that, and Suzy's OMD is about that. It's really accelerating this change in all the ways that we can, and through the alumni, by keeping all our Earth Prize competitors, participants together, much more can happen at a much faster pace. So unfortunately, I can't say that we've seen many initiatives like ours, but for sure, there are initiatives out there that are trying to do their best in their own capacity as best as they can. Yes.
Thank you. Oh, I have a question for Vinisha coming up, asking if the solar carts are for sale, and also wanting to know what you plan to do after graduation.
Okay, so the solar iron carts are not up for sale yet. So it's only been a little over a year since I've actually been planning on bringing it to the market. So it will take a little while longer since I'm also doing my education by the side, but it'll be in the market very soon. And when it does, I'll definitely let you know. As on what my plans are after graduation, so I'll be taking up any field that's related to astronomy or space science, because that has really fascinated me since a young age. And I think my interest for science also ties in with exploring and researching the unknown. So astronomy really does tie in with those criteria. And it's just a really interesting field, something I've been fascinated about. It also requires a lot of creativity as well, which innovation really does help in that. And yes, I'll also be continuing innovation by the side. So it's going to be, you could say, fun future, I guess.
Oh, excellent. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see. I'll ask anyone here from Muse Global School the most interesting passion project that they can remember at Muse School. So that might take a second. I will start just by mentioning one that a middle schooler had at Muse probably 3 to 4 years ago. And because we're sharing already, Emma's already shared a lot of the wonderful ones that she does, and she may have another one in her 21 passion projects she's done that she might want to mention to everybody. But I'll start with a middle schooler, and his name was Frank, and he created his own business called Good Souls, SOLES, and he traveled to Las Vegas, and he started working with a company that made eco-friendly clothing and products. And he went into he pursued and called and interviewed and visited their store, their warehouse, watched how they do it. He collaborated with them. He created his own website, and he started making products in partnership with this company in Las Vegas. And then he built his own little business called Good Souls that created different clothing pieces, completely sustainably made. And then those proceeds were given to a charity. So he's continued that and has had, really interesting passion projects from that. But his business idea in the 7th grade was pretty fun. Does anyone else have a Muse passion project that they might want to share about?
I'll share one that I enjoyed working on a student with. I had a kindergarten came to me and said if I asked if I would work with her, mentor her on hers, and hers was saving the world. And it was like, for me as like, again, I'm the adult who wants to like put things in a box. And I had to learn a lot on this one. Because I was like, well, what does that mean? What are we going to do? And she's like, I don't know, just save the world. It's like, well, we need some more, again, I'm thinking as the adult, like, well, how are we going to do this project? We got to produce something. And she's just, save the world. And like, I had to kind of let myself like go, okay, let's do it. Let's save the world, and like, let her lead. And once she started leading the way, then we were able to start really breaking down what was interesting to her. And at the time there were those huge wildfires in Australia. And that was really affecting her. She saw like the loss of the land and the loss of life of the animals. So she wanted to do something for those animals. So she kind of developed her own little business where we were making garden products. So we were basically taking this medicinal flower called calendula, turning it into a salve. And again, this was a kindergartner. She was 5 years old, and she developed a whole online Etsy store where she made the products, designed the labels, and then started selling these. And we raised a few $100s. And then we sent that money to a relief effort for the animals in Australia.
Beautiful.
Wow. So do we have time for one more question?
Yeah. Suzy, if you want to add anything about a passion project at Muse?
Gosh, there have been so many extraordinary ones. It's hard to even, it really is hard because they run the gamut from, yes, astronomy, space travel, fashion design, cosmetics, body creams, medicinal gardens. I mean, it really runs the gamut. I mean, I can speak about, my own kids. My son was 9 years old when he walked into the kitchen and said, I'm going to build a motorcycle. I said, cool. What are you going to build it out of? And he goes, I don't know. I think I have some wood out in the back. Anyway. And he said, I hate to read and I hate doing math. And we were actually in New Zealand, and he did build, we found a mentor for him, and he did build a whole motorcycle. And in the end, because he was so passionate about what he was doing, he was reading at adult levels because there aren't manuals for children about how to build a motorcycle. And he was actually doing, full-blown physics, which you need to understand, how a motorcycle works. And being in New Zealand, we were working with, he had to do a lot of conversions between inches and centimeters and millimeters and kilometers and miles and, things like, liters and gallons. I mean, all of that stuff. So it was fun to watch him go through that. And his culmination was starting it up and riding off into the wind.
Wow. I must say, you see, when you do become passionate about something, it allows you to open up and go and learn everything, right? As opposed to forcing a student who really is not interested, which of course there are some things we have to learn, but if you allow that space where they can really do something they love, what comes out of them and the drive and the ambition and the willingness to learn and to go above and beyond is so very powerful. So I think where we're so lucky, all of us here today, is we are involved in one way or another where we are bringing that to light and showcasing it and hopefully inspiring everyone. It's really whoever I speak to when they hear what we're doing at the Earth Prize competition, or when I share what you're doing or other people I've met along the way, or incredible teenagers like Emma and Vinisha, is all walks of life, whether they're 90 or little, are truly blown away. And you see this light within them. They're very, very excited to hear these incredible stories. So I feel very privileged to be able to be part of something that is creating this movement and creating change as you are. And I think, the only way is to just keep on going. So please don't forget to pre-register, share what we're doing at the Earth Prize competition, and get on board, because there's a lot of incredible people out there who want to make a difference, and we're all here to help each other. So I want to thank every single one of you for taking the time to be with us today. And I really hope that whoever was listening is also inspired and excited and ready to make a move and realize that it can be a small move, but it makes a big difference. So until the next time, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's listening today. And we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.